Okay, here we go. Oh, bam. There's some lines on the screen. It's very quiet. Oh, there we go. Skip? Yes. We can skip. My poor cake. So this is Rando. Hello. Skip? Yes. We can skip all the cutscenes. We got a blade orb, which I don't think I actually had. Wait, no. That was my main stuff the last time. Blade orb. Okay. Skip. Skip. Oh wait, I can go. Never mind. Do we skip? They try hitting. Oh, the dummy. You sure showed him. Yep. Now I got a bombardment. Obliterate foes with a short-range blast of moon shards. What is this? Try casting a spell. W? Wait, but I'm using a controller. Wow, a shotgun. Yo mama too, yo mama too. What? Oh my god, it is yo mama. Why did your mama too? I didn't even see that. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Hang on, how do I see a map? Do I not see a map? Oh no, we're not cool enough for a map yet. Skip. Skip. Okay. Hello. Nice, that sounds really helpful. Skip. Cool, thank you for your help. I got a shotgun and 2 swords. I don't think somebody said that I don't need to do the quests. So, is there supposed to be a way that I can see all the items on the map? Square? Oh. So is orange means there's something in that room? Hey Thunder, thank you so much. I got an eternal brooch. Brooch? How do you say that? Brooch? A golden amethyst brooch changes my appearance. A fleshy oculus that slices through unwitting eye orb is amazing. So you'll notice that like not a lot of things are glowing on the tracker. That's because I haven't gotten like anything that is like progression. So I only have the things on the tracker that actually are progression. I'm gonna equip things so I don't die. Okay, so now if we look at this, you'll see that this area is now, yeah. Wait, how come this area, how come the main area has a check? What's here? Is it you? Oh, yep, water mask. Oh, that is you. Okay, so if I look at the map, okay, now it's not gray anymore. Cool. Or Or wait, gray, by gray I mean orange. Same thing. Oh. Look at that. Do you see that? Yikes. How? I do need health. Or by health I mean experience. So it's like this stuff does give me experience. I forgot to turn off my Steam, so I'm seeing like everybody playing games. High ether, ooh. Okay, so we got this one. We gotta go this way. Is it showing me the stuff that's in logic on the tracker? Roach. Sorry. Is that what? Oh, orange areas are in logic, yeah. Okay, yeah. Orange is logic checks. Okay, sorry for the probably dumb questions. I'm gonna look at the map a lot. Oops. Because, yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. A whole lot of stuff that we could do. But you'll notice we have a ring now, right, on the tracker. I think it's a ring. Oh, it might be bombardment, actually. This item? No? What is the item that's glowing? Relics? Oh, it's water mask. That's what it is. Because water mask allows me to go underwater. Oh, sunglasses. Oh, I'm super cool now. It's so handy that the game just gives me the ability to be cool. I like my sword. Level up. Bing, 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 bing. Okay. Is there a quick button for the map? I don't think so. M. I might die. But I think we're fine. Select. Oh, that's so much handier. Okay. There should be... No, poison! No! No, not poison. I'm gonna die. Please save me, game. Give me something good. Oh, I have max aura. I'm about to die. Maybe poison won't kill me. Okay, it doesn't look like poison kills me. So I just need to make sure I get to a save point without taking a single hit of damage. Yikes! Don't touch me. Don't touch me. No! I died! Dragons are cute. Oh, he's not in my party. He's gone. No, I'm sad. He was there and then he wasn't. Did I saved all my, did I save my progress though? No. It doesn't save my progress. Oh no. You're mean. Items for your game are not remote. Fair. This bird needs to get on the ground. A mushroom. I don't need your nonsense. I'm gonna eat you. Give me some drumsticks. Wait, he gave me mushrooms. That means my items from the enemies are randomized. No. Oh, sunglasses. You know, I have like really high percentage drop chance. Ow. Bing, bing, badger, 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 badger. I wish the bird would like be more reliable on when it's gonna drop, but also at the same time, it makes sense that it's not. Okay, we don't need anything else, so we're just gonna run. I don't care about any of these guys. They were rude. They were rude. They don't deserve my attention. Last time, I'm not falling for that again. No, not a chance. Nice try, game. You think you're clever? Is there something wrong with my screen? Because I'm seeing a bunch of lines on it, and I'm not sure what that's from. Do you see those? Am I crazy? Like in the water? There's like lines across. Maybe I am crazy. You see it? You see them too? Yeah, we see them? Yes, you're crazy? Those two are not mutually exclusive. Fair. Rude. Go away. No bats. No bats. No bats. Yeah, you take that, you rude. I'm also crazy, so I don't know if my thoughts help. Also, welcome in Alave, welcome in Rashkumar. I hope you're both doing well. Rude. We have an Empress robe. That's actually pretty good. You're sounding a bit better this morning? Oh yeah. Way better. A ladder? Oh, I got a high potion from it. We can go this way, there's a save point. Oh, I wasn't paying attention, now I'm getting attacked. Yeah, no, I was pretty sick earlier, and I'm still sick, or a lot sick, but you know, doing better. Yo, Rashkuvar got the triple digit. Congratulations. I thought this was a save room. The save room was actually the one at the bottom. Oh well, I guess it's fine. Oh, the door is closed. Or open. This might suck. Okay, we're not doing that. We don't have the ability to freeze time yet because we don't have the time spinner. Silence ring reduces damage taken. Wait, how am I supposed to get in there then? Oops, no available players. I didn't mean to do that. How does it think that I can open the door? Does anybody know what it expects me to do here? Yeah, that's an actual ask. Go past those blocks that they're throwing at you, but they hurt me. I can't stop them because I don't have the time thing. Weird. I guess deboost? Oh god. Okay. Goodness gracious. Excuse me, do you mind? Okay. Alright, we need to go. Oh, that was a close one. Lab glasses. Well, those are so much better. We got smart glasses instead of sunglasses. So we went from being cool to being smart, and all of our stats rose. Down and to the right. Not even slightly. Nope. Not interested in poison moths. Please and thank you. Sunglasses are only cool till you wear them at night, then you become a song. A song? Is there a song called Sunglasses at Night? Ow. I'm just gonna deboost through. I don't want to deal with these guys, they're rude. It's a cool song? Oh, I didn't realize that. Alright, we go this way. I love Metroidvanias. It's like one of my favorite categories. I don't want to deal with these guys either. Go away. No bats. So we can't use the teleporter. What's the item that allows you to use the teleporter? Twin pyramid key? Oh, okay. I'm trying to get experience. I feel like I'm not getting very good experience. Oh, there we go. Used to wear my sunglasses at night when I was at university. My night vision was really good back then, but adjusted slowly. The sunglasses made headlights bearable. Oh yeah. Headlights are awful. Excuse me. I need to go down. Thank you. It's really nice when these enemies can't fight back. I got a royal ring, refreshes the mind, increasing aura recovery rate. I'm gonna keep my damage stuff. Pizza got delivered is impressively not what I ordered. Just close enough to make it clear that it was meant to be my order, but not corrected any other way. Oh, that's awful, maid. Run, 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 run. We're doing good though. Ooh, orange juice. Rashkuvar got a triple-digit watch streak. Thank you so much for the support. You're amazing. Thank you so much. The music in this game is really cool. What is there anybody who like has a particular favorite song from this? I don't really know what mine is. Like I haven't found one and I'm like, man, this is like the favorite. The title screen. These quote-unquote wyverns are very funny to me. Missing health increases melee damage. Oh yeah, that's right, this lady. I just feel like the music is great at matching the atmosphere of the area. Yeah. I think my medicine is finally kicking in, which is nice. I try to take it like as close to when I stream as possible so that so it lasts longer, so I can stream longer. And yeah. What is this? A merchant crow. Wait, a familiar? Wait, we can actually have a crow as a merchant? As our familiar? I did not find this guy. There's more stuff in here. More sunglasses. Order from Papa John's. Ask for thick crust, square cut, extra sauce, light cheese, spicy Italian sausage. Got, I think, hand tossed, square cut, pepperoni. I was to get extra cheese, light sauce. Oh, that does not sound like the order at all. Also, welcome in Tim. Welcome in Taco. I hope you're both doing amazing. There's still an item in here that I haven't found. Oh, found it. Never mind. Apparently more than one. Hope ring envelops you with projectile blocking shield. Can I just block everything? I would really like just the ability to not get hit. There's a dot on my screen at the bottom. Is there anybody in the chat who knows why there's a room at the bottom of that elevator that has, I say elevator, but yeah, that is an elevator. Why that has a dot, an orange dot in it? It's a boss? Oh, okay. I'm doing okay. My medicine's starting to kick in, which is nice. So like I'm sounding a little better, which is the main thing, right? I don't want to sound terrible. Like I'm still sick, obviously, but I don't want it to be awful to listen to me either. But yeah, I took some medicine earlier, and I figured that it would kick in well before stream, but apparently no. But it doesn't matter, it's kicking in now. You know, I'm pretty sure that I set the items to drop from these enemies like at an 80% drop rate. And I'm feeling like they're not. Either they just don't have any items, or like I've done something wrong. Go, go, go. I don't care. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Honestly, I feel like the weird bats are like the worst enemies in the game. I don't like the bats. Any other enemy, not so bad. Bats, awful. Well, that was a nice hit. Okay, let's see where we're going. How's my routing so far, chat? Looks like all of our stuff is kind of over here. We gotta do maybe some. I think these are save rooms. There's a boss here. Okay, so these are bosses. I'm assuming the dots on the screen are bosses. Do 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 do. No bats. No bats. No bats. My shield. You're doing fine with your run. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if I hit them twice, there's a bat here. If I hit those guys twice, they go away. That's poison. We don't want to touch that. Trying to make sure that I'm getting experience along the way. I don't know if there's anything in particular that's like worth fighting more than others. I feel like the water orb thingies gave me a bunch of EXP. Hopefully, yeah, I was about to say, hopefully his drawbridge went back down because I kind of am hecked if it didn't. Ouch. If you change the drop rate but didn't change the drop rate category to fix, then it doesn't do anything. Maybe I should have sent you my YAML so that I could like... you know, understood. Yeah. Yikes. 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 Oh my god. This is rude. Get back here. Come back here. Oh, what's this? Silver ore. Okay. You know, this is a weapon that's ranged. It should actually, like, go through him and do damage on the other side. You know, I ran into that. I feel dumb. Yeah, we'll go this way. I look really cool. I like this outfit. Is there different sprites that you can have in Timespinner? Could I get my own sprite? Is that possible? Could somebody make me a sprite? Oops. Apparently, but I've not tried. Ah, why is he poisoned? Okay, this guy's gotta go. I want my own sprite. It'll be cool. I can't tell if he's dropping poison or if my bird is dropping poison on the guy. God, I'm taking damage, but I don't actually, I'm not like really taking damage. So I'm not really actually doing anything to avoid it. Yeah. I looked away for a second. Oh, you know what? Honestly, I should not probably walk into his legs. Down. The bird uses sand. Oh, it also steals money? Oh, really? Hi, bye. You know, honestly, I don't need to fight these guys, but I want to. Equipment, a pendulum. Plasma crystal. Chunk of amethyst prevents poison. Oh my god. What happens if... Hang on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chat, actual question. Oh, Spock, thank you so much for the 20 biddies. Actual question. If I have a pendulum and I get a poison trap, does it do nothing? Or does it overwrite my stuff? Poison traps do nothing to you with that on? Can you decide that you're gonna attack me, please? Thank you. Hi. Max stand-up. Well, that's amazing. If only I had anything to use that with. Okay. But it does attack on the way back. Okay, excuse me. Stop. I was sciencing, okay? You're making it hard to science when you're kicking me in the face. Honestly, I'm just gonna kill you so that I can get experience, and I'm gonna go save because I want health. Don't even. Nice try, game. Ooh, money. Rude. I don't want to deal with these guys with the shields. I'm glad that I can just walk through his hot hammer. Went ahead and made contact customer service, let them know that Hungry Maid is not a terribly nice person. I'm sorry that this continues to happen to you so regularly. That must be like incredibly frustrating. It's like, it's not even just one place either. It's like multiple places that you've had to deal with this. The shield guys are just annoying. Like, more than anything else, they're not even a problem in terms of like, oh man, they're gonna kill me. It's more so just like, oh god, I gotta deal with these guys again. Ooh, what's this? An Umbra Orb? I don't think I've equipped that one yet. $150 frames for the main character sprite? Don't think I love Saku that much. I appreciate that you even looked into it though. was a lot of money. That was 100. Bum, 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 bum. Save, save, save. Oh, I can't go that way. Sorry, if you're seeing the screen, the map flash like that, it's because my button's getting stuck. I haven't set up my new controller yet, and so yeah, the button's getting stuck and that's why it's flashing. It's because I'm trying to press it and it's stuck. Eel meat. You know, I'm kind of curious as to why these enemies have eel meat on them. Yo, have a good night. Have a good night, Zebra, and please take care of yourself, and thank you so much for being here. Same thing with not just Soten, but also Super Metroid. There we go. My brain just rebooted there for a second. Celeste. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't remember what the button is. Oh, we got a gear. That's one of the things I think we need to beat the game. Maybe? Maybe not. No, I don't think I'm playing, my goal is daddy %. I forgot what the button is in the Oh, there we go. Found it. Okay. Oh yeah, it is, Mirix. Have you played Timespinner at all yet? Like, just a vanilla game is really fun, too. Okay, well, I did not need to go that, yeah. Wow, we have a lot of things to do now. Nope, not interested in your fire. The Rando Dev is one of our community members. Metal Gear. See, I kind of want to go lower, and the reason is because there's you know, I keep trying to jump, but it's not working because I'm not pressing up. I'm pressing sideways. You care how the iframes get in vanilla Timespinner? I did most of the ending but one. The rando is pretty cool because you get a lot of like really good gear, and like I tend to get really good gear really early. I say I tend to, but like more so, like I've only played this once so far, but I've gotten decent gear really early, and I've watched other players also get gear pretty early, so that's why I'm going off of that. There's like, what's it called? Yeah, just things that I've seen from other randos players. I don't know if any of this stuff is going to be good, but because it's an earlier check than everything else, I want to come down here and get it. Hey, you know, I hope you're doing well. I am a little sick. Okay, that's junk. There is an item in here. Yeah, I expected that was gonna happen. Oh, shattered orb. The moon shard. Okay, that's my favorite. No, I'm not. Yeah, I don't want that. I want to menu so I can put my umber orb into shattered orb. And you started yesterday. Oh no, you're sick too? Also, I don't know if I've said congrats, but congrats, Rashkavar, for the 100 watch streak. Triple digits. Welcome in, Sylvanas, Spock, Murex, you know, Kitten. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very glad that I got my VTuber avatar set up for today. It was not working, for a bit. Ah, darn it. Max, stand up. What is the item I need for my, is it the wheel that I need in order to be able to freeze time? Yeah, okay. No, I'm going the wrong way. I'm glad I sound better, though. I was really worried that I was going to be, like, sounding awful the whole stream. Ignore those guys. Deal with this guy because he's gonna shoot us if we don't. Oh. Oh, whoops. This is a very nice item. Yeah, except for I'm a goof. And there you go. Wait, what? Okay, no, we gotta go this way first. Wait, but isn't this the plasma orb one? Wait, what? Do we have plasma orb? No. Royal ring can open it? Oh. Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, that's cool. Or neck can all open it? Oh. I didn't realize that at all. I'm gonna put my silence ring back on because it's cool. Okay, so with that though, I did miss a check down to the left, as usual. Does any of you guys start with, do any of you guys start with, what's it called? The running, like the speed? You can chaos me all you want, because right now I don't have any, I don't have any sand, so it doesn't matter. I can only do it till area starts now. Feels so slow otherwise. It's like me in A Link to the Past, right? Like, I played with boots to start. I don't know that I could do it any other way. It just feels rough. Hey. Yep, it's the VTuber. It's Sixsaku. So, okay, chat, what's the yellow on the screen then? Is it a boss fight? What is with this music? Oh. I feel like this is not too much trouble. What am I getting hit by, though? Rude. Oh, I need health. This guy should be almost dead. Okay, I'm gonna like be almost dead if I continue to get hit by these buzzsaws and like the 10,000 hits that I'm taking from the boss. Do you mind? we go. Library keycard V. We still don't even have access to the other area. Thanks for the GGs. That was a rough fight. I used all my high potions. Want a tip for that? Like how to do it faster? I feel like my orbs weren't doing enough damage, and I'm wondering if that's because I wasn't using the right weakness. Up dealing with the buzzsaws with your setups. Sorry, my brain can't comprehend what you just said. Sorry, a tip on dealing with the buzzsaws? Yeah. The tip that I was gonna do was gonna be just, you know, jump, like, time it so that we jump better on the right time, but I wasn't doing it correctly. You more easily deal with the sash. Like, once you hit the ceiling, you're like, yeah, I mean, I guess. Somebody was saying that there was like weaknesses and stuff for enemies. So I haven't been paying attention to like any of that. But you can't fly. You can only temporarily stay in the air until you hit the ceiling. The ceiling's not that high. You're bouncing on the ceiling? Really? Are you getting sick? I am sick. I'm very sick. I've taken medicine so I don't sound as sick, but oh boy, yeah. Oh, we got another security key card. We're gonna have like everything available when we go into the next area. But like in the future, but we don't have any access. Nah, it's not your fault. Icicle ring causes melee attacks to shoot icicle arrows. Ooh, that's pretty cool. It's my fault. Is it? Is it though? Looks like we're doing pretty good though. I feel like this is like a later game though. I worry that I'm not going to be doing enough damage to the bosses that I'm going to be encountering. But yeah, in all seriousness, I am sick. But like, I'm doing okay. Like, don't stress. I'm just recovering. I'm just gonna buy a chaos stole. I don't know if that's anything good. I was hoping that this would give me, I'd hope that that would give me, high potions, but it doesn't. I think I'm doing amazing. What is? Oh, the chaos stole? I am but a humble scribble, and so who entertains me. You are. I hope that the scruboo is not an insult to yourself. Because I would be sad if you insulted yourself. My community is amazing, and that includes you. So you have to say, you have to, you know that you're amazing. Do I want to go up this way? Oh, I don't want it to go that way. Yeah, hit me with chaos, sure. It's not gonna matter because I don't have a thing that does anything with sand. So, librarian hat. Damage goes down. Defense goes up. Meh. Damage is the best, the best defense is a good offense, my opinion. You keep your fire to yourself. I think this is supposed to be like a dragon. But it's like a, what's it called? A phoenix? If I made a game, it would have a lot of phoenixes. How? Ooh, I got a griffin. Oh, that was rude. I was watching people in the community do Timespinner randos. Oh my god, this is rude. And they all had there you go. Oh, I got a trendy jacket. Goodbye. Lab coat. Not interested in getting my face kicked in, thanks. That wasn't all of it. Heck. Whoa. A leather helmet. If I had to pick between Dragon and Phoenix, I don't know which one I want. They're both pretty cool. To be fair, I would probably pick them both. Because I'm greedy. Oh, I didn't get that. I don't think that's what I got from my first playthrough. Phoenix probably tastes better. Please don't eat the Phoenix. You never found that? That one's easy to miss, yeah. I was sounding better, now I'm sounding worse. Ew, maggots. Gross. Okay, I think this is a save point, so we can heal and save. And then there's a whole lot of stuff over here. And I'm pretty sure there's a boss fight. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 you stole all my mana. Rude. It's not like I'm actually using it anyways, let's be real. A phoenix is basically fried chicken that keeps coming every day. Oh no. You know what happens when the phoenix comes back to life? I get revived? Yeah, I'm trying to remember your attacks. You know, I'm getting hit over and over and over again. Rude, 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 rude. Not even at phase 2 yet. I can't remember how to dodge. Rude. Do I have any items? I don't know that I do. Hi, Ruby. We're still not at phase 2 yet. I'm gonna definitely have to do this fight again. Can you come down? Thank you. Oh, this is a problem. Yep. Okay, well that failed miserably. But that's okay because I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay. Dodge, 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 dodge. Things like stay kind of like underneath her. Mirko's like, oh man, Saki, you make me proud. Using the up thing. Oh, I whiffed. You know, one of these times I'm gonna actually do this correctly. Oh, you know what? I thought I had run underneath there, but I did not. Now chasing with the sash, so proud. Yep. Oh, we're at this point in the fight. I see. You know, one of these times. Okay, I'm actually dead. Unless I have something. Boop, boop, boop. You know, one of these times, I'm not gonna mess this up. But, I'm definitely using, like, all my health stuff. And I'm still gonna die. Oh my god. Never mind, I guess. Barely. Oh. Hey Ridley, welcome back. Also, I don't know if I've said hi to everybody, but welcome in Murex and and Sir Duck and Trinities and X1011, Infamous, Heterodyne, Pyro, Ridley. I appreciate you all being here. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I'm sick. It means a lot to me. Managed to nail your shin on a fire hydrant. Oh no. I feel like those are like a little bit easy to see. Oh, Empire or oh, nice. And a gas mask. Ether, okay. It wasn't that I didn't see it, it was that I thought I had a little more space. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. There we go. There we go. We now have the ability to go, and the real question is, I don't actually know if this, so I can't warp, so I have to go, yeah, I was about to say, wouldn't that be silly if I just died right after the boss fight? But I guess I have, maybe I did save, I don't know. Oh my god, hang on. Well, before we go any farther, I saw there's a new Alien Isolation game in development. They put out a teaser trailer for it, and I am freaking excited. That is one of those games I played on my stream like very, 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 very long time ago, like back at the very, very beginning of Sagu's stream. Oh, you should play it. You should play it, Dragon Slayers. Yeah, it was, it had, there was like, they said they were going to do a second one and then it kind of died. I don't remember what happened with it, but, development for it died. And what is this? Oh. And then it's been, what, 13 years? 13 years that we've been waiting for this game. and they finally are doing another one. And then there was also like a Resident Evil movie trailer, or not trailer, but like poster. I don't know. This like Resident Evil movie in development, and I'm super excited. There's a lot of really like cool things. I'm really nervous, of course, though, because you know, Resident Evil doesn't exactly have the greatest track record. Every boss fight refills your health, magic, and sand. Oh, I didn't realize that. So we can't use that. Does that mean we have to use the we probably have to go and use the one at the like shop, not shop. You know what I'm trying to say. Down this way. The one in the town. Yeah, the camp. Honestly, I'm just gonna go through these guys. Hey, Nancy. Spindle doesn't do anything by itself? Oh, really? Well, that's disappointing. I mean, we have a whole lot of stuff we can do over here, so I'm not like too worried. Look at all this stuff. Oh, whoops. Wait, what? Oh, I went the wrong way. I was supposed to go up. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for like some cool stuff in the future. Alien Isolation is one of those horror games that will get immediately added to my games queue if it comes out. Like Alien Isolation 2. I'm hoping that it's not going to be like as long as the first one. The first one definitely had a time constraint problem where it just like, it felt like it just never ended. Ow. Oh, whoops. No, I needed to go up that way. Darn it, I thought I could jump over him. To be honest, it's not really a big deal if I take a little bit of damage, because by the time I get over here, I'm just gonna go over. I'm just gonna deboost, because like really, honestly, I'm not really too worried about taking damage. I have a lot of defense and I have a lot of health. Antidote. So we have the anti-poison ring on, right? No, anti-poison equipment. Wasn't there something we had on that got rid of our like poison? Oh, pendulum. Okay, we'll put that back on. You know, it's really crazy how my crow is able to hit things from that far away. Wait, what? Why does it say there's something in here? Okay, I see. Okay. You know what? Heck it, we're just gonna go this way. Because apparently trying to get this way is not possible. And then going this way, get rid of those guys. Herbs. You know, that reminds me, that would be like, there's a really nice, there's a meal that I want to try to make. It's like a herbed chicken. I hear about like herbed chicken all the time, but I just never ever made any. And I want to try a good herb chicken recipe, but I don't have any. Yeah, these guys are hecked now. Okay, now that I have the poison thing, I'm gonna take this poison trap and test it. Oh. No herbs? It's just, I just don't know what, like, there's many herbs. Like, what kind of herbs? What kind of herbs would you put on it? Right? That's the thing. It's like, yeah, or you could have herb chicken, but like, what kind of herbs? Chicken herbs, obviously. Oh, you know what? That's silly of me. Why didn't I guess that? Captain's uniform and a soul scanner displays the names of foes when they're hit. So that's a relic, which is nice. Where am I? There's a boss down there. Rosemary, thyme, oregano. Right, I thought oregano was like for pasta sauce. Oregano's for many things. I've always only used it for pasta sauce. That sounds amazing. Oh, that's another captain's uniform. That's worse than my Empress robe. Lab coat is pretty good for will, not as good for defense, but better for damage. Now that I've got the other thing though, wait, can I have 2 of the Chaos Stool equipped? No, I can only have 1. Usually buy some pre-compiled mix of spices, herbs, and work from there based on experience of what I liked and not so much. That's fair. I keep hearing people talk about it and I'm like, man, I kind of really want to try, but I'm also like not super familiar with what's good and what's not to put on chicken, right? Like there's some spices you just know are better with other things. Like I got a spice combo that's way better with chicken, and then I'll have a spice combo that's way better with like steak or pork chops or other things like that. If you had a second Chaos Soul, you could have 2 of them on. Ah, I can go buy another. Do I really need another though? What I need is health items. Honestly, I keep getting my face kicked in. you don't trust yourself, they're great. Oh man, you know what? There's a Clubhouse spice mix here. It's called Garlic Plus, and it is amazing. I think I sent some to somebody. Got a snack box in the Streamloots pack, and somebody had got a snack pack in a Streamloots pack. I think it was Chops, and I gave them some of the Clubhouse spices, Garlic Plus, and it was really good. Have a good night, Vincent. You're heading to sleep. Thanks for your help. If you're in Canada, they sell it like every store available in existence. It's like, oh, because we're in the present, we're not in the past. Hey, Harmful. Yeah, I'm like not bad. It's just my energy level is a little low, and I have to be a little bit more calm because my throat is really sore. So like, if I overdo it, then I'm going to hurt my voice. And I don't want to injure my vocal folds or anything like that. Galaxy Stone? Do. You're in the past, not the present? Wait, but I thought that the past had water. Go away, bees. Oh god. Go away. An arm cannon blasts foes with heat-seeking missiles and a powerful beam. What? That's super cool. I'm always lost. I don't know what you expect from me. I feel like that's a part of being a streamer, is constantly getting lost. Oh, I got some jerky. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, boss fight. Okay. Chicken fight. Yeah, that's right. You can fight there's a guy who shows up here too. I don't know if I have this setting on so that I just go back in the room and he shows up. But mind refresh. I hear the eel. Bees! Wait, they all died and gave me chicken instead. Honestly, that's okay. I'm fine with that. There was a bee trap that spawned in the water. I just need to find a good herb blend for chicken. I've got a lot of like barbecue-esque ones. I've got a lot of like barbecue or like salted or whatever else. I just want something that's like more herbs rather than salt. I'm not really the biggest fan of salt, so an aura serpent summons an aura serpent to destroy foes. I don't think I ever had that in my playthrough. I do not know what that is. Get some experience from enemies that can't fight back. It's a pretty awesome spell. Should I swap out bombardment for it? You were not kidding. That is a pretty awesome spell. Huge fan, by the way. Thank you. I'm not Natsaku. Natsaku is a completely different Twitch channel. If somebody wants to do a shout out. Hey, Fanty. How you feeling? Like butts? I actually sound like a billion times better even than like when I first started stream. It took a long time for my medicine to kick in. Yo, have a good night, Hyperlink. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Oh man, lots of luck. I'm doing good. I'm glad. I'm always happy to hear when you're doing well. Now the question is, do I want to go down? I feel like I want to go up. And then, yeah. Did miss you. Hope all is well. Oh yeah, I'm just sick. It'll be fine. It's just a cold, I think. It happened. Like, I felt that it was coming on for a bit. It's just like a little bit of throat ache. So my voice is a little bit deeper because my throat's being dumb. Nose congestion. Yeah, just basic sick things. Nothing bad. Why is it called a cold if it causes a fever? That's an excellent question that I do not understand. You know, the fact that I get chicken breasts from flies is gross to me. There's a boss fight here. Can you put those back on the ground, please? There's a dodge button, but I actually don't know what it is. I know that it's like a left button. It's either left trigger or left. Yeah, it's that one. But I didn't want to like test in a fight to figure it out. I don't have the fire orb or fire anything. I don't remember what yellow is. Why is yellow? Wait, what was yellow? Why was it on there? Oh. Hey, heroes, thank you so much for the 70 consecutive watch streak. Welcome in, by the way, Zizzy, Dragon Slayers, AMC, Anon, Harmful, Shadow, Fancy, Kingdom Key, Heroes. You're all amazing, and I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for hanging out with me when I'm sick. You know, out of everybody that you could be hanging out with, out of everything that you could be doing on your Monday evening, you're hanging out with Asaku, and I appreciate that. It makes my day. Oh my god. Okay, so there's 2 items we can get from there, and then we gotta go back. I was lucky enough to wake up. It's like starting my day here. Oh, awesome. Hopefully it's a good day. And you have good things happening. The room's yellow, the bottom right corner. Bottom left corner, whatever. The far left one, the one that's purple is now, or the one that's now purple on the far left was yellow. These are rats and they look like cats, and I have a hard time calling them rats. Like, I know they're called rats, but I feel like that's a lie. I feel like I'm being lied to with these enemies. I'm gonna check end of warp room. Okay. Ooh. Oh, thank goodness. Something for health. Pretty sure that one of these over here is, yeah, checks. A buckle hat? Wow, rude. Okay, so that's everything over here. So now we have to go back to the left and then down. Shh, don't tell Infamous, down to the left. I love how the chickens give me mushrooms and the flies give me chicken breast. I heard that? No, you didn't. In case your hat isn't tight enough, you can adjust it. I have a big head, so I don't need to. I don't have a problem with my hats being too tight. Okay, left, down, left. Don't have to tell me. Oof. Wait. Wait, this is not left, this is right. You're finally admitting that you're just awesome? See, that's where we disagree. Jack's always on the command. It's one of those questions. When playing Diablo 2 as a kid, I remember giggling about the swarm of flies in the second act. Drop something like two-handed halberd. Just imagine them carrying in your mind. That's the thing. Like, I always, whenever an enemy drops something, I'm always like, I wonder, like, lore-wise, what they're doing, right? Like, you know what I'm saying. Like monsters carrying like money or other things like that. Do you think that they have like a little, like the wolves have money in their pockets or whatever else? So do they have pockets? No. So do you think like they just have little shops and they just carry around money in their mouth? I don't want to think about the lore behind that. That's yucky. How? You found the secret. Oh, in Diablo 2? Yeah. You know, I actually played Diablo 3. Fun fact. I do not remember much about it, but I did play it. A familiar Kobo robot. There's a tiny cannon on his arm. I kind of want to equip that one. Oh, rude. Okay. Diablo 3 was alright, but 2 and 1 were much better. I never played Diablo 1, but I did play Diablo 2. You know, honestly, that was pretty funny. A new Diablo 4 expansion dropped today. You've been playing it. Are you enjoying it? Welcome in, by the way, Anthony. Welcome in, Dova. I hope you're doing well. Heroes with the 70 consecutive watch streak. Thank you so much for being here as well. 70 big numbers. Oh my god. We've had so many big streakers today. Don't understand the late game changes, but I plan to. Good luck. I like colors. Honestly, I think every game should have a rainbow level. Oh, darn. I thought this was going to be an item, not a save point. I think every game should have a rainbow level. Dova with the 55 consecutive watch streak. Thank you so much. You like Destiny 1 more than Destiny 2? Oh, really? Or are we talking Diablo again? Sorry, I get confused when we start using acronyms that are like spread across multiple different games. Oh, okay, yeah. For some reason, like when I see D1 or in D2, I automatically think Destiny because that's the game that I played quite a bit. That has like that acronym. Do we have anything in the bottom here? We do, but it's gonna be better if we do this instead. Oh, no. Thankfully, that's probably only a screen till a screen transition happens. Which direction are we going? Yeah, this way. Security keycard D. A princess dress and a midnight cloak and a shiny rock. I keep hoping for a Diablo 1 remaster, but knowing Blizzard, they'll screw that up. I just wish that I just wish that companies would stop making live service games and make more first-person games. Like, what's it called? Not first-person games. That's the wrong thing. Like single-player games. I'm just so busy. I don't have time to play like a game that requires me to like have FOMO or whatever else. Yeah, Dova. I understand that. Goodbye. Get rid of these guys. I think this is a chest. Ancient coin. You know, I'm still not finding the thing that allows me to go into a different time zone or teleport or anything else like that. More health. I like that. Are we almost in BK mode? Am I missing something? Is it has to be in like one of these two rooms, right? I say BK mode as in like anybody else is gonna be able to find anything for me. It's gotta be my own game. Wait, are you fully nocturnal? How did you get sick? Did you get poisoned by some family member? Just because you're nocturnal doesn't mean you don't get sick. I don't know. I am fully nocturnal. I've been sick, or I've been like on the verge of getting sick for a bit, but I've been like, what's it called? Ooh, twin pyramid key. Okay. I've been on the verge of getting sick for a while, but because of, you know, trying to stave it off. I think stave is the correct word. Oh, there's a boss there. I'm on the needing less live service games. I can't help but go back to Division 2, but I also know if Halo really makes the extraction shooter, I'm definitely playing it. I think for me, I had a big problem with Halo because like the game was like super unoptimized. Oh, no, I don't want to deal with that right now. Wait, maybe I can? Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was gonna deal with that. Keep on jumping, keep on fighting. Wait, what? You're not dead? Bungie? No, Halo. Halo, made an extraction shooter. Like the Halo devs, is it what? Not, I don't even know if it's 343 anymore, or if it's now somebody else. And I don't even want to talk about Marathon. Marathon upsets me. That's because I'll never forgive Bungie for cannibalizing the or Destiny 2 for Marathon. Bam. Okay, so it looks like a present. We've got some things we can go do now that we have the twin whatever things. That's because I'm making Destiny 3. I would have been happy if they were making Destiny 3 instead of Marathon. How did I get into video games? I just really liked playing, honestly, it started with, what do I want to say? Oh my god, these bats! Probably Ocarina of Time. It was like the first time that I wanted to, like the first time I put any time into any games. I did play things that were like Atari games and stuff like that when I was younger, but it wasn't really like it wasn't really anything that was like, oh man, this is super cool and whatever else all. But then I played Ocarina of Time. That was a lot of fun. I say a lot of fun, but I got stuck. I didn't actually finish Ocarina of Time for a very long time because when I played it when I was a kid, I got stuck. If you had to guess, okay, those of you who know, don't say anything. If you had to guess where I got stuck in Ocarina of Time and gave up, where do you think that would be? As I want to say probably a 12-year-old, somewhere in there. Water Temple. Most people would say Water Temple, Shadow Temple. Those are all amazing guesses. But unfortunately, Lost Woods, no. I in fact got stuck and gave up in Deku Tree because I couldn't figure out that I needed to light the webs on fire to open the door to go to the boss area. And yes, that is the very first dungeon of the game. Poor Sunk. Fall further to break the web, yeah. It's I got stuck there, and so I did not I didn't make progress for a very long time. Oh, look at this area. Is wonder what the item is that we're gonna have to pick up. Oh, look here. That's why she lights everything on fire now? No. Would you say it's your favorite Zelda game? What would I say is my favorite Zelda game? Twilight Princess. Easily Twilight Princess, hands down. But then what ended up happening was I keep pointy hat, that's super cool. Then what ended up happening is I was playing like Pokemon games and other things like that on DS and a variety of other, games, most of them being Pokemon. And so I was talking with other people who play games and they were talking about Halo. And so I started getting into Halo because we did LAN parties and stuff like that. And so then we did co-op and I did the story and everything and it was really cool. I really liked it. Halo was great fun. Hey, awesome boy, thank you so much for the 25 consecutive watch streak. Water park, oh my god, that sounds amazing. But yeah, played Halo 2 co-op, then played Halo 3. This is without playing Halo 1 because I didn't have a Halo 1 copy. And played ODST, so I was like really big into like FPS games and stuff. And then trying to think of what else. Then after that, I had people were talking to me about Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X. About how amazing those games are, so they gave me, let me borrow their copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 and Final Fantasy X 2, and so I started playing those and I really liked them, although Final Fantasy X 2 was easier to understand. Kingdom Hearts 2 not so much because that was chaotic without having actually played the first one. Oh, ODST is amazing. You are definitely not alone on that. I actually say all the time that I really love ODST. There's one thing that I really do wish that they had done differently for ODST. I have numerous times had an issue where I disconnect playing the game, and because of that, the way that it's handled with its like mission sections, it doesn't save your progress on the in-between worlds if you disconnect. Did you play the second one before the first ones? Yes, I played Final Fantasy X 2 before Final Fantasy X, and I played Kingdom Hearts 2 before I played Kingdom Hearts. Greed brooch. Lavish brooch featuring a turquoise gemstone changes Merchant Crow's appearance. Oh, really? I'm like the only person who thought the Final Fantasy X was nothing special. I think it was really cool. I really liked it. Did it have flaws? I mean, for sure, every Final Fantasy game has flaws. But it's still a good game, in my opinion. I think I have to go down through the bottom to get there, but I have to be careful because I don't want to go the wrong way and end up going to Narnia, basically. Yeah, we have to go to the right, not the left. Oh, whoops. Bing, 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 bing. Found a funny meme. How not family friendly can it be for Discord? Well, if it swears, that's not the problem. Oh God. It's the thing is if it talks about non-family friendly topics, it probably is going to get removed because I have a Discord partnership and they are pretty strict on if you have an 18+ server, like it has to be marked as an 18+ server, and like these are the things that guidelines you have to follow and blah blah blah, and it's a lot of I don't want to deal with it because we're partnered with them. Jack's butt. I mean, you just DM it to me and I'll be able to tell you one way or another. Sun ring. Health replenishes over time. Oh, that sounds cool. Listen, I don't mind seeing jacked butt in a meme. Oh God. Yeah, I don't really know how to deal with this guy besides just beating him up. But yeah, Discord is another thing. Don't open the jacked floodgates. Let's skip cutscene, skip cutscene. Yeah, it's just yeah, the problem isn't me in particular. The problem is my Discord partnership. They're pretty strict on what they do and do not allow for things, and I don't want to deal with yeah, I don't want to deal with getting in trouble and getting my Discord partnership taken away. Forbidden Tomb. Scimitars? Honestly, I'm doing really good at platforming here. I am impressed. Level up! We got a high potion. Oh my god, thank goodness. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you. What do you want? You have an exclamation mark above your head and I don't know what you need. Don't worry about that quest sign. I'm definitely worried about the quest sign. Wait, can I not read the tablets? Is it because I don't have a ID card? Hi, goodbye. Oh my god, please. Galaxy earrings. No. Oh my god, please. We got the D card. Or a blast. Nice. Maybe for the advisor set. Oh, I don't have that though. Hey, Highwayman, how you doing? Go away. Just a blue orb. Star of Lachium. Wow. Just casually aura farming over here. Oculus ring reveals hidden passageways. Oh, but we have to have it equipped. That's butts. Honestly, if there's ever a rando dev that comes to my community, that comes to my stream, please, please, please find a way to make the Oculus ring into a relic so that it's always on and I don't have to equip it. Please. This is one thing I'm begging you. Just please, if there's anything I can ask. I would very much like that. And that's fair. I just want potion, nice. I just don't want to have to equip the ring. Passive Oculus would be amazing. Oh, I missed this somehow. I'm just a babby Timespinner rando player. I just would like babby Timespinner rando player settings. Rude. I keep forgetting that I now have the ability to just, that I now have the ability to warp. Yeah, it's to the right and up. I wonder if it's because I didn't have the Oculus ring. Maybe this wasn't on the map. I'm excited. I ordered my birthday cake. And it is probably the last time that I'm going to be ordering the birthday cake through this company. Rude. Not because the company did anything wrong, but because they keep... Oh, fire orb. This is actually a big deal. What kind did you get? Vanilla. The company has decided they're going to be more so interested in doing weddings, and they've been over the years going and doing less and less birthday stuff, less and less options, and now they're not even gonna be really taking birthday cake orders. So I'm gonna have to find a new company to do it. But I mean, like, it's good that their business is going well. But yeah, I used to be able to get like like a salt, not a salted caramel, but like a what's it called? Caramel, like, I don't know. It's, yeah. I used to be able to get a cake that was more, oh god, my brain is just not working right now. It was caramel, but like also with vanilla. Oh, it's honey cake. There we go. I used to be able to order like a honey cake with caramel like icing. Like it would be like vanilla with caramel on top of it or other things like that. But like a honey cake. But now your options are basically for a birthday cake, you get either vanilla or chocolate, or you can get red velvet, and you don't get to customize it at all. You can put your name on it. That's basically it. And so I am not super interested in that anymore. It was like the honey cake was really good. I think I've shown on stream before, but here I'll show you guys my birthday cake from last year. Not last year. I don't remember. I've gotten cakes from the same place for a long time, but like I said, they've slowly been getting rid of the options. So but yeah, I always get buttercream cake because that's what I like. But yeah, this year it's just vanilla. Do. But yeah, it started off where I could get like, you know, a cake that looked like this. And I cannot get a cake that looks like that definitely anymore. And then and then they made it so you could only get tall cakes. So then I got a cake like this. It was not that, like, it wasn't very thick, mind you. Like, this is a very thin cake. It's like 6 inches or something like that, but it's really tall. So you feed a lot of people, but it's like, yeah. Is that a cookie? Yeah. Cake Rando, hey Mike. Welcome in. Yeah, there's a cookie on top. There always was. That was like part of the main thing on why I liked it. Because they did allergy, like they were an allergy place that kind of like specialized in stuff that worked for people with allergies. And because I had food allergies, I had to be careful. Your birthday? Yo, happy birthday, Anon! But yeah, I always buy myself a birthday cake. I do, in fact, like birthday cake. Ooh, security card B. That's quite a big deal. Won't it be funny if I burned the wrong side and I can't get through of this thing up here? I hope that's not the case. I know you have the wish you happy birthday thing, but do you accept gifts? I do. I have a throne on which people have been regularly clearing out for my birthday, and I have a PO box that I have in my like in the thingy below my stream. In the panels, thank you. alchemy tools. Eternal crown, a teal half hat with golden wings, enhances when dominion over time. Well, I don't have the ability to use anything for time at the moment. I can only assume that it's gotta be this. That word just wasn't coming to you. It's been a bit of a problem, especially with like being sick. It's been really hard to think. Brain sometime no worky. Yeah, this should be locked. I probably can't leave it. Oh, I can. Okay, never mind. No, it's just that it was somewhat tough lately. I probably won't be able to celebrate properly. Don't have the strength to wholeheartedly celebrate that I'm still alive, but it's fine. I'm sending you big hugs, Anon. Unless you don't like hugs, in which case I'm sending you good vibes. I do know that feeling, though. Just know that you're not alone. I really love your voice. It's really beautiful. May I ask what your accent is? Well, right now my accent is sick. But I'm Canadian. Scythe ring. Ooh, I do like this. Yeah. I also welcome in Peace Smash. Yeah, I'm a bit sick, but I'm Canadian. I'm from, oh my god, what? Oh my god, thank you so much for picking up something for my throne list. Oh no, those are not good things to have for your food redeem. But welcome in. Do you like playing Timespinner? But yeah, I'm from Manitoba. Good old Winnipeg. No bully, please, and thank you. Actually, let's go down, because I'm pretty sure there's an item down here. Shield ring. Ooh, shield ring's pretty good. Oh, we got a sprite. Sprite will heal me. I've not actually played Timespinner Rando, but I've absorbed a bit from watching things like SG Live. Is Timespinner still on sale? It was on sale, I think, when I first started playing it. What is this? Antidote. I didn't realize that's what it meant when it said that it was going to tell you where the things are, where the breakable walls are. It's just going to make them neon flashing. I love the random sizes of things. Oh no, I did. Darn it. I was worried that was gonna happen. That's fine. We can go back. Ow. You know, honestly, that was on me. I went the wrong way. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah. This is night, sorry. I'm probably pretty like yucky sounding. I don't normally sound so gross, I promise. But I wanted to stream today. Oops. I wanted to stream today because I wanted to play games. I want to play Timespinner Rando because I'm going to be playing 40 games solo archipelago, and I'm behind a little bit on my games queue in order to catch up with it. So I'm trying to do everything as efficiently and quickly as possible. Oh, you also love dinosaurs? Oh my god. What's your favorite dinosaur? Oh my god, thank you so much. What? Thank you so much for gifting stuff off my throne list. I really appreciate it. My favorite line is to say is "Rar means I love you" in dinosaur. That is adorable. I can't get these yet because I don't have my security card. I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. I love Godzilla. I love everything like in, yeah. Wow, that guy is pretty, this laser beam robot guy is pretty cool. Shadow, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Miss P Smash. Mrs. P Smash. Kaiju? Yeah, kaiju. All that, yeah. Max health up. Is that a save point down there? I think it is. You know what? I'm just gonna run down there and grab the save point. Oh, I can't. I was gonna say I was gonna run down there and grab the save point, but I cannot. There's a lot of things to fight here. Rude. Fellow dinosaur lover, you gotta. Love watching the old black and whites as a kid. Love the newer remakes now. Yeah, I've got do I have the collection or did I put that on my throne? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I have it on my, I guess things that I'm currently, yeah. Hello, I'm trying to go down. Isn't this? I think this is the way that has an item. Yeah, I'm just a goof. Max health. I'm not actually sure what I need in order to beat the game yet. To be honest, I just know it's daddy %. So that means we have to kill dad. But it's the bad ending that we are doing. But that's because it's the easier one. Rude. Economizer ring reduces the aura cost of all spells. So up and to the left, up and to the right. Gotta continue Dad Simulator. Oh yeah, that's oh my god, there was a joke that had come out about, what is it called? Pragmata. Somebody made a joke about how Pragmata had an AI running its social media account and said that it was like D10 or whatever else all was the AI thing, and it was a joke about Diana being, yeah. Plasma orb. That's one of the ones that's on the tracker. Capcom did it. Yeah, I don't remember. But it was funny. Wait, hang on. Goodbye. I do not have any ability to hit them besides that, so yeah. What's my favorite dino? I feel like I like velociraptors from like Jurassic Park, but as a dinosaur, like an actual physical dinosaur, like I'm not right. That's not my favorite. The name of it is not coming to me, but it's like the ones from the Land Before Time that are like that's ducky. Well, you know, just duck and attack because I forgot that those were not the laser beam spiders. Yeah. This is what I get for being sick. Colossal braid. Okay, you know what? My brain needs a holiday. If somebody could reboot my brain, that would be thumbs up. Pterodactyl? No. Pterodactyl's Petrie. Wait, there's still more in here. No, yeah, Ducky was definitely not the pterodactyl. That was Petrie. The Spike was the Stegosaurus. Summon an enormous ball of magma to destroy foes. Interesting. Brachiosaurus is Littlefoot. I can't go in the elevator, and I can't remember what I need for it. Sarah was Triceratops. Rude. Dilophosaurus. But yeah, do you know what I want to play? But I didn't get a game code for. What is the game that's coming out? Fogs that I had sent a request for that they didn't give me a key for. You want help? Oh, I would like, if I ask a question, you are more than welcome to answer it. I am not on like heavy duty spoilers or anything else like that, but I don't want people like, I don't want 20 people telling me where to go because I'm gonna get like overwhelmed, especially because I'm sick. There's a baby meat eater. Chomper. Chomper is who you're thinking of. The T-Rex. Explode Link again? No! No more explodings! Hang on. I want to save, so let's go to the save point. Hi, baby. You're breathing on my arm, which is making my arm really warm. Hey. Are you cute, puppy? Yes, you are. Hello, Ruby. Ruby came over for pets. And thus she automatically gets pets because she's the ruler of the stream. Oh, there's an elevator key card? Oh man, my brain no worky. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Stegosaurus. I don't know. I have a hard time because I also like the Mosasaurus. Like, because, yeah. High ether, antidote. I seem to recall one elevator uses a different key card, but most are that one. You enjoyed that, right? Like, it was all good fun? Oh, I love crowd control. I'm like, all like, jokes aside, I actually am the one who came up with the idea for crowd control. So, because of how much I, you know, enjoy it, I had a blast with it. I always have a blast with it. I'm gonna go in here, but I didn't save, and that makes me nervous. So maybe we'll go here because it looks like there's a boss on the other side of this door. So we're just gonna save and go back. Oh yeah, I love crowd control. Oh, is this not a boss? Why did it have the dots on it like the bosses do? Oh, I have Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2. I would really like the ability to just, you know, not get slapped in the face. Oh god. Weird. Yo, it's another gear. Wait, that's 2 gears. But then, yeah. I just want to go away from there. Can I leave this room? How? I don't have the ability to like, oh God. There's a thing that allows me to get my health back. A really slow recovery rate. There we go. Aha. See, I'm getting there. Yeah, still no wheel, indeed. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that guy. Definitely would like to not deal with that guy. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. I'm gonna die. I got an iron orb. I don't want to deal with any of these guys. Go away. Yeah. I don't know which is worse, honestly. No plus or minuses on orbs? No. Let's see what my percentage is at in this game. I'm at 63%, by the way. 63% done. Yeah, no, I don't even want to contemplate doing that at the moment. Still need a gear and the wheel. I can't tell if Spindle's checked. Spindle is checked. Like the far left item we're missing. The second item we're missing the gear. We have gear 2 and 3. We're missing whatever the last thing is. But I'm just doing daddy %. So I just need to reach the top of the tower. And survive. Hey, we got the dragon. Damage checked. Wait, wrong daddy. Yeah. There's so many daddy percents in Rando. There's like there's Pokemon Emerald has daddy %. This game has daddy %. I don't think the rude. I don't think the one in Final Fantasy X is daddy % though. Nope. Nope. Just deboost through everything. Goodbye. Please give me something good, like health. Okay, yeah, that honestly worked perfectly. It'd be funny if Final Fantasy X had 30%, it just ended a fight early. Yeah. Ah. Oh my god. We finally have the wheel. How long have we been streaming? Honestly? Yeah. That's ridiculous. Rude. 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 Go away. I'm trying to dodge up and instead I'm not. Go away. Level up, level up, level up, level up. Nope, nope. Don't care. Where am I going? Nope, we're saving. Excuse me. Oh, that didn't work. That's also not gonna work. I'm gonna take 10,000 bits of damage, but I'm not gonna lose my wheel. Oh. Go away. Nope. Nope. Well, heck, that was not worth at all. Like when Vanya gets rude at me, I just think at least it's not Medusa heads. Oh my god, Medusa heads. I don't even want to think about that. Are we just like in go mode? But I'm so squishy. Oh. Did I just like see something out of the corner of my eye or what happened? Rude. That's fine. God! Bullets? Trying to level up? I don't want to level up with you. You're butts. I don't even want to deal with you. Nope. No, thank you. Okay, goodness. You know what? I don't want any of this. I'm dead. Oh my god. Well, everything is awful there. That was hard. I just want a level. Please give me more levels. I'm gonna hit your feet. Your feet. My stuff is stuck. My button's stuck. Rude. Go away. Oh. Pretty sure you need the elevator pass, but I don't usually run to 80%. The elevator pass? Really? Okay. That was rude. Okay. We just, like, messed our way through there. All we need to do is find the save point over on this side. We'll be fine. Yo, enjoy your lurk. Take care of yourself, please. No, I lost my time spinner wheel, didn't I? Wait, no, I didn't. No, I just need to go to the bottom here. Oh my god. You said in the hourglass. Health, 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 health. Okay, we're never doing that again. Never going through that hallway. That hallway is awful and is miserable and is the worst ever. And we're going this way. Just so we save. But I need to sleep for preemptive. Get sleep a preemptive exclamation mark for finishing whenever it is. Take care of yourself, please. Thank you so much for being here. So we have the eyeball, the eye orb. Does that mean that this place is shut down? Like all the power's off? Oh, hey. Oh, man. Oh, wow. That's a lot of checks. Now, I need a save file or a save place. There's one up there. Oh, hell, well, there's my elevator key card. Wait, what? The laser's there. Yikes! Oh my god. Okay. You know, I didn't want sand anyways. Crimson vortex. Throw an unstoppable vortex of chaos. What am I throwing myself at the enemies or what? Go have a good night, Kemery. Because I'm an unstoppable vortex of chaos. Radiant orb. Nice. You know, I don't actually know which way I'm supposed to go. Whammy. Goal is marked in green on your map? Oh. Yeah, but I'd like to try to get as much as I can. If possible. Blood orb. Gross. Just so that I can try to see if I can, yeah. Oh, not that I'm worried about, you know, being in not 100%ing the thing, but harnesses telekinesis to glide across the ground. Oh, hey, is this, wait, hang on. How do I go fast? Nope. Yes, there we go. That's the speed thing. Tailwind ring. A Metroidvania I haven't played. Walking? You've never heard of this game? Oh man, it's so good. You should give it a try. I really like it. Oh my god. Wait, where is this item that it thinks I can get? Poison, water is gross. Is it over here? Oh yeah. A gun orb? Max stand up. Convenient. Berry pick me up, and I don't know what the other one was. Max sand increase, I think. Keep on going this way. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's a boss. There's a check here. Yes. I learned new Metroidvania to play. There's let me see. Out of the games that I've played, oh, worm brooch. I literally will never get that correct. A pale brooch featuring a crimson gemstone changes Mayef's appearance. You want to know another Metroidvania that I liked playing was Blue Fire. Sorry. Save. Boss. You know, I kind of am surprised that that was as easy as it was. Familiar demon. Is there any of the familiars that do anything for you for like opening up checks or anything like that? There's a dot on this as well. Okay, we're not going in there without full health. Nice try. I really don't understand why Experiment 13 is put in a boss room. Yeah, I don't either. Rude. Make sure we're going all the way to the right. Oops. Oh, thank you. Goodbye. Gilded egg. Wait, what did that do? Blah, 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 blah. You know, this hurts a lot. It would help less if I stopped running directly into her. Rude. Oh, we're getting the double attacks though. That means we're moving up. No, thank you. Honestly, I feel like I'm still doing really well, so I'm not too worried about, you know, dying. If she goes to the middle of the room, you know for a fact you're getting the, yeah, the other one, the other attack. Why no mommy %? Chaos Blade. No, this went really good. Let's see. We go, I guess, all the way to the left. Okay, all the way left. Oh, God. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Oh, hi. Nope. I'm looking for more health. Defeated enemies restore health? Okay. Suck, you got them bad hops to skip. Yes, I definitely don't want to have anything to do with those guys. Yo, Couch, thank you so much for the raid. How was Final Fantasy VI? Oh my God, it's been way too long. How are you doing? I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm just scared. How are you doing? I feel like my one orb is not doing so hot. Doing all right. I'm sick. What? Oh, I got a pumpkin. I'm just casually aura farming here in Timespinner. Oh god. Wait, this doesn't feel like it's actually doing that much damage. But I also don't know. It might just be like specific enemies are weak against specific things. Could be worse. I have like a wicked cold. I'm just ignoring all of the enemies because I don't want to deal with them. Okay. I'm gonna go back here so I can heal. I feel like I've done like a huge amount of the rando. And yet I still have so much more. Where am I? I'm here. Let's go to the library because there's probably like 10,000 these things to check now. Colossal hammer. We got high ether. There's still more. Whoa. Oh, a succubus hairpin. Shops updated? Oh, I haven't checked. Wrong way. Wait, isn't it here? Yeah. Well, yeah. Biscuits. I hope they heal me. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Can we get a shout out, please, for Couch? Couch, were you speedrunning? Or were you doing something different? I gotta go up to the top. Bird statue prevents chaos. Oh, beyond chaos randomizer. Well, that sounds pretty cool. I don't think I've heard of that before. Oh god, a spider trap! Max health, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you, Ralthian. I've only ever done Worlds Collide. How does that one work? The most randomized randomizer I've ever played? Oh. I've got to hit the save point. Okay, going down. Go this way. That works. Rude. There's always that one guy. Let me down, please and thank you. Wait, what? I did not realize that's what that was. Go, 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 go. Gross, 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 gross. Max, stand up. Would you most relate it to? I would say, like Symphony of the Night is a pretty common, I guess, what's it called? Like thing that it gets related to. It's very much a Metroidvania. I like that you seem more chill tonight. Nice. I am sick. So that's probably why. Not by choice. I am sick, so. Boop, 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 boop. There's still more in here. Yep, taking damage. That's okay. It's only like one hit. Trying to find where the chest is in this room. I'm assuming it's probably right here. Yeah. Pyro ring. Does pyro ring work as a burning item for those vines? Yo, have a good night, Couch. Thank you so much for being here. You play through the story, but stats and abilities of weapons, armor, characters, and enemies are all randomized. There are even flags that can randomize who can or cannot use espers, adding Final Fantasy VIII style junctions to equipment, who has natural magic. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, light wall. Velation crown. I wonder if I have a good... I feel like I'm still getting hit for a ton. I'm pretty sure, like, I feel like this is one of the best armors already in the game. And even still, like... I probably should have bought another Chaos Stool. It's gone now, so I can't, but, you know. What is blocking me from over here? What is this item that I'm missing? Oh, the other shop in the past? Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. Well, now we gotta go all the way back. Oh, good. Poisoned. Oh my god. At least they're only like only one damage each. Oh. Do-do-do-do. Elevator, please. Oh, I don't have keycard A? Really? Oh, for some reason oh god. Spaghetti. I just picked up spaghetti. G's that movement. Hopefully G's in a good way. Oh. Actually, we'll save. Because I feel like there's a boss up here. Go away, please. Oh god. Oh well, he's dead. That was fast. I guess this is an early boss in comparison. There's still something on the left-hand side, so if we go down into the left, we have to heal first. Smoothly breeze past some rooms packed with enemies. Yeah. Would help if I had a little bit. It would help if I actually did the jump. Down. We'll just go down until it's blank. Max sand up and a librarian robe. We're doing pretty good so far. So is the thing at the bottom a save? Okay, then the thing on the far right is something. So there's this item, and then if we go, there's nothing pretty much in the past. Well, there's this and this, I guess. And this, like a couple one-off checks. What is it that we didn't have in the past in order to get through here? Is it the ring? Or the Oculus thing? Is it the Oculus stuff that we didn't have? Okay, we'll go down and we'll grab the thing over here. We're gonna get hit in the face on the way through here because there's one guy who's like shorter than the rest. On the long hallway. Oh wait, no, we don't go through the long hallway yet. Okay. We got that. Everything else is far right. Most of the stuff is now in the past. That's actually pretty good. we almost might like, I might actually like 100% this in one day. I went the wrong way. I say 100% it, but I'm gonna be real. I'm definitely not gonna be doing this nonsense post-game stuff. So, the Sandman. Gosh, this fly. One of these times I'm gonna figure out how I can get through here without getting absolutely shredded by flies. Oh, you're back again. I thought that I saved you already. Goodbye. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no, this is the right way. Goddess brooch. Ooh. You did sometimes it messes up if you approach from the left side without going back through the right side first. It's kind of strange. Oh, okay. Rude. I can't believe I just leveled up from the rats. Goodbye. Oh my goodness. Go away. Okay, I looked at that and I was like, man, that looks really suspicious when I came here the first time, and I was like, oh, I guess it's nothing, but it turns out it was something. I just didn't have the right thingy. Oh, good. Okay, well, about that. Is that all of our stuff? No. It's fine. I'm gonna head towards the end now. You mind? It's so nice of them to drop oh my god, unagi roll. Canadian key card. Let's actually go and get food. Just so I can, you know. Okay. Sure, we'll buy meat. Wait, is the other guy not here? Oh, God. You ever get better food from him by doing his quest? You're going for sushi for dinner tomorrow? Is it for family birthday? It is, yo. So many people have a birthday nearby. Sister and I are going for Sushi for her birthday. Oh, that's pretty awesome. I haven't had sushi in way too long. All right, we're going to beat the game. As soon as I figure out where I'm going. A witch hat? Goodbye. Heck. I'm gonna go. Oh. Oh god. I'm gonna go over here first. No. And grab the item that's up here. Wind orb and max health. Oh, nice. Okay, that's actually useful. Wait, hang on. Where's the the save room? I think the save room is right before the boss, so I think we're fine. You mind? Go away. Oh, you know what? You know what's great? Because I don't need to deal with you anymore if you go down there. You know what's even better? Because I don't need to deal with that guy at all. Captain's hat. I can die with all that jerky. The jerky doesn't do anything for you. It's like so little health that it gives you. What a high potion. I mean, I have some. I feel like we're gonna win anyway, so get ready to get your GGs. This is it. In we go. Go away, Daddy. Wow. Did I miss him? Like, oh. Okay, hang on. We need, like, all the things. Okay, he does take damage from that. That's gonna hurt. Rude. I have 4 health. I should actually, like, you know, be a little bit more cautious about what I'm doing here. That's yes. He's not using the other thing that I was using. Okay. That was a lot of damage. Woo! Did you speak too soon? Yeah. Oh, okay, that's fine. I got overconfident. Darn it. This is probably going to be a sword thing, yeah. I still haven't figured out how to dodge the swords. Oh, God. You know, he takes a lot less damage than I do. You know, I keep forgetting that I cannot, wow, that does nothing to me. I'm dying again. Darn it. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. I keep trying to jump up for that one twice, but I never, oh God, I never make it. Okay, that one worked. See, that one worked too. Oh, that one did not. Oh, bam! GG! We did it! What is this weird defense? What? You're powerful in eyes. The universe cannot exist without someone to protect time, and the Sandman is gone. Am I ascending? Well, bam. What am I? First try, GG. Also, this ending is very weird. Because also, what's going on with the lines here? The lines have gotten better or like worse. For a rando, not bad, yeah. And I spent so much time yapping at the beginning. Can we just, okay, yep. We got everything. At the end. Also, the dragon changed colors. Well, they said like the dragon would change like looks. I didn't think they meant the colors. Are you running in windowed mode? The game doesn't actually play in 16:9. There are normal bars on the side. I wonder if it's some scaling issue with your window in the capture. Oh, I'm not. I'm playing windowed mode, yeah. There was no option to do anything else, I didn't think. Thank you for the GGs. I feel like I did pretty good. There's like 1 billion backers. So I don't want to sit through all of the backers for 100 years. Thank you for the GGs, everyone. And thank you so much for the follow, Ramarel. You don't know anything about the game? You should give it a try. It's called Timespinner. It's available on Steam. And, yeah. I'm glad. I feel like I did pretty good. This is gonna be a good one for the archipelago, for the multi-world. The 40 seed. I know it's a little bit of a shorter stream for me today, but my medicine is starting to wear off, and I feel like it's probably going to be a good time to wrap up because I can feel it hitting me. My cold. You need to go rest? Yeah. I did pretty good though. Thank you all so much for the support, the follows, the resubs, you know, the watch streaks, the gifts from the throne, the you know, I don't know if anybody wrote a message on my kudo board, but that would be cool too if you did that. You know, the raids, the follows, the gift subs, all the support. You're all amazing. Thank you so much for being patient with me while I've been sick. Yesterday, I was supposed to play this yesterday, but I was very ill. I was so lethargic. I was like falling asleep while I was trying to get set up, and that was like after having slept for most of the day already. So I just needed more rest and whatever. You did. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. You're all amazing.